Hello everyone. Thank you for joining me. This presentation is on the Building Needs and Deficiencies portion of the Facility Needs Assessment Report for the Monadnock Regional School District Elementary Schools. This presentation, along with the program analysis presentation, form the essential part of the Facility Needs Assessment Report, which is used to generate and compare future options. We will start with a review of each elementary school's layout and then a virtual tour through photographs. Finally, we will assemble our findings into a cost matrix. This will give us a comprehensive view of the current conditions and the value of upgrading deficiencies. Please enjoy the presentation. There are 5 elementary schools in the 7 towns that belong to the Monadnock Regional School District, and they are spread over a large geographic area. Those schools are Cutler in Swansea, Emerson in Fitzwilliam, Gilsum STEAM Academy in Gilsum, Mount Caesar also in Swansea, and Troy. Most are similar in that they have all had multiple additions over the decades. Each does, however, have their unique issues. Cutler has the most challenging site because of how close the school is to the property boundaries. It only houses grades 3 through 6. Emerson is in better than average condition and has a larger site than most. There are, however, some outstanding issues. Gilsum is the smallest by far in student population and building size. It also has a challenging site. Mount Caesar has the largest, most developable site. It has received the most recent renovations and additions. It houses pre-kindergarten through 2nd grade. Troy is the oldest school in the district and has not had an addition or major renovation in decades. It has the most needs of any school in the district. The property Cutler sits on is very restrictive, with little district-owned property surrounding it. There are playfields owned by the town that the school uses. The building sits very close to property lines on both the north and south sides of the original building. This creates difficulties for access by buses and emergency vehicles. The car and bus lanes are separated to where both enter back to the street. The cars, however, have a very small queuing area. The building has had multiple additions with various styles and materials of construction. This has created a very sprawling layout. Temporary classrooms relocated here in the 90s are still in use today. The main entrance is not the historic front entrance that is visible from the street, but instead a smaller, less obvious doorway down the side. There are other entrances accessed from the back for students and public use for the gymnasium. 2 of the important safety and security issues of the school revolve around the main entrance, where there is an unprotected egress path and an unsecured lobby. The main entrance is not very visible from the parking area and difficult to find for someone not familiar with the school. Where the buses pick up and drop off is in the back of the building, where there have been problems with the width of the driveway. On the south side of the building, there's a fire lane that does not meet the minimum width requirement by code. Parts of the building have had water damage that the cause appears to have been corrected, but the damage remains. Older parts of the building have fire escapes for egress that do not meet current code requirements. On entering the school, there is no secure vestibule at the main entrance. Once you let through the exterior door, people have access throughout the school. The principal's office is within sight of the front door, but a small distance away and on a different floor level. Older parts of the building are on multiple levels. There is a main stair connecting the majority of these levels, and it has a stair lift for handicap accessibility. However, the stair lift takes away from egress capacity of the stair and does not cover all levels. Due to the way the school has been developed with multiple additions over years, there's a wide variety in the overall conditions of the rooms. New ceilings, doors, flooring is needed for many of these areas. The Emerson School has a large site that provides adequate space for the school. Cars and buses have separate loops, and there are fields and play areas. Like many other schools in the district, this facility has had multiple additions, the newest built in 2000. Most deficiencies tend to be in the original part of the building and early additions. The building exterior is attractive and in good condition. The main entrance is easily identifiable. However, as people enter the building, there is an airlock vestibule but no rooms adjacent to it to provide security. The principal's office is down the corridor, but there is nothing preventing a visitor from heading in the opposite direction. The heating and ventilation system is aging and needs upgrading. Some pipes are exposed and some heat elements are old and potentially hazardous. The original part of the building has some code violations that should be corrected. The Gilsum School is by far the smallest school in the district and the furthest in distance from the middle and high schools. It, however, is very important to the town because the school also acts as the town community center. The site is large enough for its use, but the position of the building poses some challenges. Cars and buses are not adequately separated. Constraints of property lines and steep slopes limit access around the building for maintenance and emergency vehicles. The building, like most others in the district, have also had multiple additions. The most recent being the gymnasium and cafeteria, which also serves as the town community center. It was built in 2001. The configuration of this addition created an internal courtyard that is unique, but also creates a liability for snow removal and maintenance. The main entrance to the school is on the far side of the courtyard. The entrance to the cafeteria and gymnasium are closer to the driveway, making security more difficult. There are several code issues that should be addressed, mostly in the area of the older parts of the building. These include emergency exits and handicap accessibility. The design of the gymnasium and cafeteria is attractive, but does create an unusual arrangement where the community center is more accessible than the school itself. The caf is the first entrance that you encounter as you approach the building, and the gym is next. A corridor leads to where the school officially starts. Here there is an entrance that is accessed off the exterior courtyard. The principal and secretary's office is not immediately adjacent to the entrance, making security reliant on cameras and technology. The site poses a challenge for fire safety and handicap accessibility. Steep slopes around the southern portion of the school prevent access to and from the building. This is shown by an extensive set of ramps in order to achieve exiting the building safely. The Mount Caesar site is the largest and most developable property owned by the district. It is large, flat, and mostly open with several play fields and easy road access. The bus and car queuing and parking areas are adequate, although could be improved. The main entrance is easy to identify. There is no ability to lock down the multipurpose room or library for after-hours use, meaning any community users have access to most of the facility. Mount Caesar has received the most building upgrades in recent years, including an addition that was built in just the past few years. Some deficiencies still remain. The most notable is the lack of a separate gymnasium. The multipurpose room is used as the cafeteria and is small and not suitable for physical education. As stated, Mount Caesar has received recent additions which are evident from the outside. The upgrades are also evident on the interior. Most rooms are up to current educational standards and the entire facility has received mechanical and electrical upgrades. Deficiencies Mount Caesar still has are mostly program related. As mentioned, there is not a separate gymnasium. Many classrooms have been repurposed for new uses, or the requirements for the intended use has changed over the years. For example, special education needs smaller spaces for private instruction, but is mostly housed in regular education classrooms with other specialists grouped together. This creates problems with noise and confidentiality. Troy is the oldest building in the district, with the main building dating back to the late 1800s. It has received several additions, but none in the last 50 years. Like most other schools in the district, the changes over time may have been appropriate when constructed, but now the layout does not meet current educational standards. The site the school is on is large in area, but the school itself is positioned on a portion that limits activity. It is close to a densely populated neighborhood, and at the back of the building there are very steep slopes. This makes parking and bus lanes tight. The main entrance is tucked in the back corner of the building, making it difficult to find if you are not familiar with it. The building has two areas: the 3-story original building and early additions, plus a 1-story wing that has the multi-purpose room and several classrooms. The largest problem with the layout centers around where the two areas of the building connect. This area creates several life safety and handicap accessibility issues. Other program deficiencies exist, such as kitchen area, which is much too small for the population. The school has a very strong street presence and is very historic. The main entrance, however, is not well situated. It is not handicap accessible and presents safety and security issues. The low roof height prompted fencing to be placed above it to prevent unauthorized access. Most of the school is not handicap accessible. The main part of the building is 3 stories tall with a stair lift connecting each level, which, although provides access, is not a substitute for a full-sized elevator. A ramp connects the gymnasium wing but is too steep. Toilet facilities throughout are not handicap accessible. The main stairs have fire doors that have been compromised by the stair lift and do not provide adequate enclosure in the event of a fire. Fire escape stairs were added to help with the lack of egress from upper floors, but these stairs themselves now do not meet code. Deficiencies found at each elementary school have been compiled into individual cost worksheets. These worksheets contain a list of problems, possible solutions, and a matrix of cost sorted by priority. The list is further broken down into 10 categories. This list is designed to be comprehensive to ensure meeting all the State Department of Education standards. The data comes from several sources, including the previous architect and engineering assessments, recent investigations, and order supplied information. Each elementary school in the Monadnock Regional School District has building needs. On average, each school requires approximately $2 million in improvements to meet the district's standard for quality. Mount Caesar has the least and otherwise is considered the standard for quality that other schools are judged. Troy has the most needs and also has had the least improvements over time. These cost figures represent the physical needs of each facility and not the space needs or educational program needs. The intent of this part of the study is to simply identify deficiencies so that the future options can be compared accurately and fairly. It also gives us a sense of where each building fits in the larger context of the study. One finding that is apparent from this exercise is that 2 of the schools, Cutler and Gilsum, exceed certain guidelines in the State Department of Education rules. This does not mean that a renovation project cannot happen at these schools, but it does call into question if upgrades are a good investment. These are particularly true of Cutler, where some problems are simply technically infeasible to correct. Gilsum, on the other hand, is in reasonable condition and serves the community well, but expectations for getting state building aid might be reduced. In conclusion, all the elementary schools in the Monadnock Regional School District have some building needs. Cutler and Troy are the most significant. Cutler and Gilsum exceed thresholds that might limit state aid. Some of the highest concerns surround security and safety issues. Handicap accessibility is also significant at some. The Monadnock Regional School District is a diverse school district with a culture of strong support. It's also a conservative district that is budget conscious. The information in this building needs assessment will ensure that future projects will meet the district's expectations. I hope you enjoyed this. Thank you.